think we'll go ahead and get started, and more folks can join as we go on. But hello, everyone. Welcome to the Oregon Jewish Museum and Center for Holocaust Education's Zoom platform. We are so pleased and grateful to have you all here tonight. Before we dive into our talk, I just want to quickly share a little more about the museum. OJMCHE explores the legacy of the Jewish experience in Oregon, teaches the enduring and universal relevance of the Holocaust, and provides opportunities for intercultural conversations. We have a robust programming schedule, which includes curator talks, book talks, artist-led workshops, and programs that inspire civic engagement, like what we're doing tonight. We'll have time for questions at the end of the presentation, so do feel free to pop those in the chat or the Q&A box throughout our speaker presentation tonight. And now for more about our speaker. Amy Randall, member of Portland's Government Transition Advisory Committee, is an experienced political and public affairs professional currently living in Portland, Oregon, with also strong ties in San Francisco. Her diverse background includes work in local government, electoral politics, strategic communications, and community organizing. Her political experience began when she earned her BA in political science at Portland State University. During her time as a student, she cut her teeth as an aide in the Oregon State Senate and was involved in the 2011 redistricting process. This began her specific interest and expertise in governance mechanics, which she has continued to study and be interested in to this day. Amy has also served as a Joint Distribution Committee or JDC Fellow in Kiev, Ukraine, and she is a voracious learner, history enthusiast, and spends as much time as possible reading, tinkering, and enjoying the outdoors. Amy, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Hope everybody can see and hear me okay. I think there's a presentation yeah, okay. Well, great. Thank you so much to the museum for having me. I said to Mariah and Amber, but I want to say to the whole community, this is actually my last of 2 years of presentations about the Portland's new form of government. So this is a really special presentation, and I'm so excited to share with you guys. So in case you missed it, Portland's got a new form of government. I'm a member of the Government Transition Advisory Committee, and we'll talk a little bit about what that is. So today we're going to cover the following topics. At the end of the presentation, we'll have an opportunity for questions, but of course you are welcome to put questions in the chat as we go along. And I'm happy to answer things kind of as they come up. We're not that big of a group, so it won't be a big deal. So we're going to talk about the Government Transition Advisory Committee, Portland's new government, the future of ranked choice voting, and staying up to date with what the city is doing. Next slide. First, the Government Transition Advisory Committee. Before I dig into what our new city leaders are doing, I wanted to share a little bit about the Government Transition Advisory Committee, also known as GTAC, and the work we've done. It started as a 15-member advisory committee made up of volunteers appointed in March 2023, and we've served until March 2025. Actually, last week we presented our final report to the City Council. GTAC was the third in 3 citizens committees involved in the transition. The first was a salary commission. The second was the districting commission. Before that, there was also the charter commission. And so we're the third of the 3 formal commissions, the 3 formal committees in the government transition. And our role was acting as the primary citizens engagement body for the transition. Our role was to ensure effective and efficient implementation of charter reforms, to engage the public, and provide strategic advice to the city. We represented diverse sectors and views and were united in involving Portlanders for a successful transition. We encourage all Portlanders to continue to participate in the transition. Our meetings are finished now, but they are a trove of information about how the transition happened and also very specific information about how our recommendations were formed and set up. And we also have produced a final report, which has very specific recommendations for the new government. Next slide. So, like I said, we served as the main public engagement body for the transition. In all, we had 68 public meetings and presented at 140 community presentations. We also did research where we researched peer cities, including Atlanta, Austin, Baltimore, Boston, Denver, Fresno, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, etc. And we also did a summer of community engagement. Like I said, we provided 140 community presentations. Oh my. 140 community presentations on the new form of government and new election system, including to more than 50 neighborhood associations around Portland. More than 39% of our community presentations were in partnership with communities that fell in this category of historically left out of City Hall decision-making. And a big guiding post of our work was elevating voices traditionally not involved in government conversations. Next slide. So next, let's go over Portland's new government. The 2022 charter reform involved a couple of types of changes to Portland city government. So the first was a new role for the council and the mayor. So let's briefly review the city council and the mayor's responsibility. First, the council will be setting the direction of the city through strategic planning processes done in collaboration with the city administrator. Another way the council will be setting the direction for the city is through their authorities of making appropriations, raising revenues, and adopting the city's budget. Ultimately, they're approving policies necessary to respond to community and organizational issues and to achieve agreed upon strategic outcomes. They're a legislative body now. The mayor, on the other hand, will now propose the budget to Legislative Council for consideration and adoption. They will appoint, and the council will confirm, a professional city administrator. Together, the mayor and the city administrator will work to implement laws and policies developed by the council and will be accountable for the operations of the city. Just a side note. So you might know that previously Portland had a commission style form of government. So that means that there was 4 city councilors and they were all in charge of bureaus. So now the city councilors are no longer in charge of bureaus. They are under the city manager and the mayor. Next slide. So many of you are familiar with this map that shows the 4 geographic districts that were created and adopted by our previous committee, the Districting Commission. Each district is represented by 3 counselors, which was from the Charter Commission's research and recommendation. You can look up your district based on your address at portlandmaps.com. I'll also drop that in the chat. At portlandmaps.com. Here it's in the chat. And now let's take a look at our new city councilors. So we'll not be spending much time on each individual. However, you can find more information on each of these individuals on the website. The city auditor is the same auditor we had before, Simone Reddy, and the new mayor is Keith Wilson. He also appointed, actually, the person who was the same city administrator, who's named Michael Jordan. Here are the 12 new counselors, and we'll view each 3 counselors per district on the following slides. So as a reminder, this is how Portland leaders were elected. The roles of the city auditor and mayor were elected citywide, allowing all Portlanders to have a say in these leadership positions. City councilors were voted based on 4 geographic districts that we just looked at. All city leaders were elected for the first time ever using ranked choice voting. And next. The councilors representing District 1 are Candace Avalos, Jamie Dunphy, and Loretta Smith. A note about District 1 that I just think is so cool is that in the entire history of the Portland City Council till now, there was only 2 representatives ever from east of 82nd. On day 1 of the new city government in January, there was 3 representatives. So it's just a very cool thing. Next slide. The next is District 2. The representatives are Dan Ryan, Ilana Purtle-Guiney, who serves as the council president, and Samir Kanal. District 3 is South Southeast, and the counselors representing District 3 are Angelito Murillo, Steve Novick, and Tiffany Koyama-Lane. Finally, we've got District 4, which is the west side. The counselors representing District 4 are Eric Zimmerman, Mitch Green, and Olivia Clark. In order to stagger the elections so that we weren't electing a whole new city council next time, districts 1 and 2 will serve a 4-year term, and districts 3 and 4 will serve a 2-year term. So the next time we have an election in Portland for the city council, it will only be for districts 3 and 4. In their first gathering, next slide. In the first gathering of the council, the city launched the new form of government by electing councilors Alana Purdle-Guiney as the council president and Tiffany Koyama-Lane as vice president. The council president and vice president will lead the expanded 12-member council. The council president will also recommend whether items are considered immediately by the 12-member council or referred to one of the 8 committees as part of the legislative process. We'll look at those committees on the next slide. So a lot of our GTAC work was around these committees, and this is a really exciting area of the government that I might be a little bit boring, but I really encourage people to get into. You can watch these committee meetings on YouTube and really get into the weeds with things. So the 8 committees are seen here, and the council committees will consider, develop, and recommend legislation in their topic area. Committees will publicly and actively deliberate and will be the primary place to promote public engagement and input on proposals and policy under consideration. You can learn more about the council committees by visiting the website here, portland.gov/council/policy committees, or you can watch old sessions and current sessions on YouTube. Next slide. To provide comment or feedback on any individual topic seen in the committees or generally, you can contact either a specific official or request a meeting with an official or ask them to speak at an event. You can complete an online request form. All requests go directly to the district administrative specialist to support in connecting to the public to their district counselors or appropriate city staff. If you want to learn about the counselors, find articles, or provide feedback, you can visit the council district's webpage, which is this portland.gov/council/districts. A lot of our recommendations at GTAC were around how the interfacing of the government is with individuals and the constituent experience. And we are leaving a lot of very specific recommendations with the new council, and sincerely hope that it's a pretty different experience interfacing with the new government than it was interfacing with previous government. Okay, next slide. So now we'll take a look at the future of ranked choice voting. As a reminder, in a ranked choice voting system, as you all probably saw, the voters have the option to rank candidates in order of preference instead of selecting only one candidate. These rankings mean that if your first choice candidate is eliminated from the race, your vote can still count towards your next choice candidate. The way I like to think about it is your first choice is your favorite candidate, but your second and third choices are backups. Next slide. In the city auditor's office commissioned exit poll, it showed that at least 75% of voters in a district will have their choices reflected by who is elected. You can learn more about ranked choice voting by visiting the auditor's website. There's also some very cool breakdowns of how the voting went, which show round by round eliminations. So if that's something of interest to you, I encourage you to look more into ranked choice voting. It's a really exciting thing that we implemented in Portland and was overall a pretty uneventful transition, which is a lot of props to Multnomah County for their hard work there. We'll be using ranked choice voting for upcoming elections. As I said before, District 3, 4, and the auditor will be on the ballot again in 2026. Districts 1 and 2, which is the east side and north northeast, will be on the ballot in 2028. As previously mentioned, city councilors will be voted based on geographic districts, and the mayor and auditor will be elected citywide, which again is different than how it used to be. Last, let's review ways to stay engaged. So much of the transition had to do with going out and talking to the community, and so much of our work at GTAC had to do with talking to the community. So I really, from the bottom of my heart, encourage everybody to stay engaged, choose an issue that's important to you, and find something to take away from this about getting engaged, because there's never been a more porous time for your voice to really matter at City Hall. Okay, next slide. So first thing you can do is connect with the city council. One way is by watching council meetings. During these weekly meetings, council conducts the city's legislative business. You can learn more about the council agenda on the website. Those are also during the morning and the evening. The schedule is published online, but they're Wednesdays, and sometimes they're in the morning and sometimes they're in the evening for accessibility. You can also sign up for a public communication to address council at a regular meeting for 3 minutes on any topic you choose. I've done it. I've gone in front of the council, and it's a really rewarding experience. You can also sign up to do this online. Another way to get engaged is through work sessions. These sessions are another type of meeting where members of the council meet to discuss important issues impacting our city. Members of the public are welcome to watch work sessions in person at City Hall or via the streaming on the city's YouTube channel. You can visit the council clerk website to find out about work sessions when work sessions are scheduled. If you are wanting to reach an elected official, you can also do so by visiting the website. Okay, the slide's not on here, but I also just want to include that the current budget development process is also happening. There's a lot of opportunities to engage in the budget cycle, and there's a lot happening at the city right now. You can go and find more information about engaging on the city budget process, or in district listening sessions that are happening currently on the city's website. Okay. If you have any general questions or questions regarding city services, like you need your leaves picked up or you need to report an issue from potholes to broken park benches, you can contact the city directly through 311. This is the same as it was before, but you won't be able to reach, that's not a good way to reach elected officials anymore. You can give them a call, email, or visit online. Next. If you'd like to receive city updates, you can sign up for the Rose City Connection, which is the e-newsletter that the city sends that I think is a really great newsletter. I encourage you to take your smartphone and use the QR code to register your email address so you can receive the latest news from the city and as the transition unfolds. If you don't have a smartphone, no, don't worry. You can sign up by visiting portland.gov/updates or follow on Instagram, X, or Facebook. By signing up for the newsletter, we will amplify the most impactful citywide work by using content already created by all of the different service areas, improving shared knowledge, dialogue, and engagement, and then outlining opportunities for you to learn about job opportunities, small grants, business resources, and community resources. This also is channeled into all of the information that you need to know from the city of Portland is channeled into a single weekly digest. So I highly encourage everybody to go and follow there to at least stay up on what's happening with the government. Next slide. And at this point, we'll take questions and answers. Or take questions if folks have any part of the presentation that I just shared that you want to dial in on, or any questions about things affecting your community.
Well, I'll just say thank you so much, Amy. That was super informative, and it's exciting to see that Portland is kind of joining with other cities in the way that they function and that they structure their government. Um, you may have mentioned it, but I'm curious, how long has this been in the works for Portland to restructure its government, and how long did it have the commissioner system?
Yeah, so Portland had the commissioner system for the last 100+ years. It was set up when Portland was set up because Portland was set up as an agrarian city and it's an agrarian form of government. The Charter Reform Commission, they were doing their work in 2021, and the ballot initiative passed in 2022. If folks remember around the city, there was a charter reform ballot initiative that came out of the work of the Charter Review Commission, and the work of implementing the transition has been happening in 2023 and 2024, 2 years, which throughout this transition, we heard a lot from other governments that had longer and shorter timelines. And that was a very compressed timeline for such a huge thing as a government transition, but was actually longer than other cities have. So yeah, there's so much good things to be said about the city's transition team and how much they were able to really pack in and kind of queue up. Because it was so many things that were beyond just different type of government. They had to update the city code. They had to remodel the city council chambers for 12 people instead of 5 people. They had to I really encourage folks to just, yeah, appreciate how detailed this was and the last 2 years of transitioning.
Awesome. Well, any questions from the audience?
Neighborhood association questions or questions about uh,
Actually, I have a
ways that
question.
people have experienced the new government, or yeah, I'm really interested.
You mentioned neighborhood councils. I'm curious how I have, since moving to Portland myself 5 years ago, I was really hoping to get involved in neighborhood councils, and I've seen it's kind of varied across the city depending on what neighborhood you live in. So how does someone get involved in their neighborhood council?
Yeah, so Portland has a very robust neighborhood. I think they're called neighborhood associations. And what you can go on the City of Portland's Office of Civic Life, and I think you can put your address and it'll tell you which neighborhood you're in. And it does vary a little bit from neighbor to neighborhood, but they're basically just local coalitions of neighbors that are usually funded by the city, and they put on, oh yeah, thanks for the website. They put on different events. My neighborhood association, the Boise neighborhood, puts on like a park event in the summer and like a concert. Neighborhood associations are doing things like cleanups, and then there are also kind of like civic engagement places. I know that the city councilors will also interface with them. So yeah, take a look on the Portland Civic Life and you can get involved. Everyone is a little bit different as far as their schedule and specific information, but they all meet somewhat regularly, basically monthly. And there's opportunities to engage on the more community organizing side or the more like policy, like I'm interested like trash pickup and traffic patterns in my neighborhood. There's really something for everybody.
Great, thank you. Um, I have, I guess, one other question is if a regular citizen wanted to get involved in an advisory committee or a committee like what you were involved in, how might they go about that?
I highly recommend it. If I can tell people anything, I would say do that. So on the Portland City of Portland website, there is I don't know the website off the top of my head, but you can just Google City of Portland Advisory Boards and it lets you know opportunities. So you just submit an application, and depending on the type of board or commission, the vetting and selection process will be different. But generally speaking, you'll submit your application. things that are happening right now that are just have come across my desk recently was the Planning Commission is accepting applications right now. The environmental Portland's Clean Energy PSEF fund is looking for board members, I believe, right now. The Parks Commission, I think, is hosting people. Don't quote me on any of these, but if you look online there, you can see all of the opportunities, and it's a really simple form, and you can just talk about why it's exciting or interesting to you. And a new process with them is that they'll go before the council. So you get appointed, and every single committee has a different tenure. So ours happened to be 2 years, but they're all different depending on the committee. One of our recommendations with the GTAC was a review of the committee system. Portland has such a robust volunteer engagement, so many advisory bodies, and we really love to see that make the most of people's time.
That's great. Any other questions from the audience? As a reminder, this program has been recorded, so this is a resource that you'll be able to access on our website and on our YouTube page. Amy, is there any last things you want to share? Any other tidbits or?
My last thing I want to share is just how special this transition was and how it kind of was the furniture in Portland. I think it's something that was on a lot of people's minds. People might have noticed there was a lot more city council candidates, but this is a really cool effort and something that we as the city of Portland can be very proud about. It's something that is really unusual for such structural reform to happen in government. So I think we as Portlanders should be very proud of this transition and just be excited about the transition and ways that the government is going to serve the people of Portland in ways that it hasn't been previously.
Great. Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for being here tonight. Thank you again, Amy, for sharing your time and expertise with us. I hope to see you all at the museum very soon. Okay. Have a good night. Stay safe in the storm tonight.